quarterback of the internationally acclaimed radio talk show Holistic Living. He'll be doing a speech out of the Competent Communicator Manual, project number 8, Getting Comfortable with Visual Aids. Todd is the president of Professionally Speaking Toastmasters Club, a member of Toastmasters Extraordinaires, and a member of 5 other clubs in our area. Todd is also very involved in the new club program for District 2. Please give me a warm welcome for Todd and his speech title, Talk About Your Passion and Get Compensated for It. Welcome, Todd.
Isn't that awesome? You walk up on stage and you see something like that. I spent 2 years learning about this industry. And tonight I want to share with you just a little part of that industry that I think can make a huge impact on your product and services, or even if you just want to have some fun. First, I want to ask you some questions. Who here is passionate? So passionate, you can almost consider yourself to be an expert. Yeah? What are you passionate about? You love the storytelling? Very nice. You guys see one over here, Richard? Research technique. Research technique? Do you think that there's 100 other people somewhere in the world that have the same interest? How much time do you spend on a weekly basis with your passion? You think maybe you could spend a couple more hours a week with your passion, have some fun, and maybe even create an income stream to help supplement your yearly income? Would you like to hear about that, or at least hear some ideas? That's what I'm here to talk about tonight. I can by no means cover the whole thing, but I'm going to just give you a little teaser and see if I can't spark some interest. And that interest, of course, is podcasts. Who here listens to podcasts? Yeah. Everybody know about podcasts? Yeah? Let me tell you a little story. Well, here's what I'm going to tell you about. I'm going to tell you a little story about how I got involved in it. I'm going to tell you what a podcast is. I'm going to show you how easy it is to create it. I'm going to give you some ideas of how you can make some money doing it. 2 years ago, I had a passion. I was studying metaphysics and success principles, and it was in my heart that this message needed to get out to the world. People needed to understand it and hear about this stuff so that they could better their life. I walked into Holistic Living with Tina Marie and Todd. We totally encompassed the entire planet, and I'll explain a little bit more about that with just that radio show. I had a passion, and I followed that dream. Okay, so what is a podcast? In 2003, some guys in a garage decided to create some audio files. They were playing around with mixing music and doing mock talk shows, and they were putting them on the internet, and they started to get popular. Then a visionary caught onto the idea and really took it to the next level. That visionary is Steve Jobs. And in 2004, he created the 4th version of iTunes, and he included the ability for podcasters to post their podcasts for free. They're indexed and searched, and you can find, there's hundreds of thousands of podcasts listening. You can find a podcast on just about any niche or any interest that you have. By 2005, Webster's Dictionary was forced, pretty much, to create a definition for podcast. And basically that definition goes like this. It's an audio file that is available on the internet to be downloaded in digital format. And this is the key part. You listen to at a person's leisure. That's the hot thing about podcasts today. People can download them and they can listen to them when they have time. People didn't have time to tune into my radio show every Tuesday at 10 a.m. to hear the live broadcast. But 50,000 people a month had the time to download it and listen to it at their leisure. Incredible way to get a message out. So who's listening to podcasts? Well, in 2010, some statistics came out that stated almost 50% of Americans over the age of 12 are listening to one form of a podcast or another. It's an incredible number. Something else that they came out with was people listening to podcasts are really in tune, and this is important. They're really in tune and they're really into the social networking and media sites. Facebook, Twitter. So they're in tune to an avenue for you to use to get your podcast out there, which is Facebook. It's easy to do. How easy is it? That's how easy it is. All you really need is a computer, a microphone that you can buy at Radio Shack for $20, interfaces with your computer, and you need a piece of software to be able to edit those audio files. Most computers today come with software already loaded that allow you, like MacBooks. MacBook has GarageBand. Awesome piece of software in order to edit audio files. There's plenty on the internet for free. And that's another key thing, is you can get started in podcasting for little or nothing. I'll go into a little bit more about that. So the editing software allows you to go in there and, you know, as Toastmasters, we're trained not to use ums and ahs, but if you're using them a lot, you can go in there and take them out. You can add music. You can add sponsors' licks or sponsors' audio files, advertisers. You can take the back of your audio file and put it in the front. You can almost imagine an audio editing software as like Word. You can go in and completely edit it however you want it. So once you create the MP3 file, then what do you do with it? You don't really want to load it up into your web page because it takes up a huge amount of space. But there's hosting people out there that will host your podcast on their site. Now with Holistic Living, it was a live show, and the broadcast station took care of all the podcasts and posting it to iTunes, and I really didn't understand, you know, how that all worked until I started to do this presentation, and I went out there and looked at what's available for free. I was floored. This is what you would get for free. So if you create an MP3 file, and you sign up with a podcast hosting site, there's plenty of them out there, you can search the internet. This is some of the stuff that you get for free. 2.5 gigs of hard drive space. Now typically, Holistic Living, an hour show, would take up just a little over 100 megs. That would mean I could put 20 of my shows in that much space. Over 20 shows. They have web pages for your podcast that you can totally customizable, your own theme. Now this isn't a place where you'd want to put your main web page, but you can certainly create something for your podcast, and then in your blog or on your main page, create a link that goes to your podcast page. Simple as that. Real easy to do. This floored me. You can create an app to give to your fans or your listeners or people interested in your passion. They can put it on their smartphone, and every time that you post a new podcast, they'll get notified about it. Or if they just want to go and check and see what your latest podcast release was, they just click on that little link off their iPhone and they can listen to the new podcast. It's incredible. I was shocked at that. Analyst tools. These sites give you the tools. What's the demographics of the people listening to your podcast? When I started to look into this with Holistic Living, I found out people from Greece, New Zealand, Great Britain, a lot from Canada, and certainly a lot from the United States were downloading our show. It's great to know who's listening and who's downloading. Income opportunities. They know who's clicking and who's getting a lot of clicks or who's getting a lot of downloads of podcasts. They have income opportunities of people that want to advertise on popular podcasts. This is the new medium. This is where advertisers are going to be looking to put their advertisements on podcasts. The newer cars today come out with interfaces with the iPods and the smartphones. They're not listening to the radio anymore. Advertisers are looking for new avenues. And if you got a hot cast and you're getting a lot of clicks, you're going to be right to get some advertising. Seamless integration. With a click. Once you post a new podcast, with one click, it automatically goes to your Facebook page, your Twitter account, your Stumbled Upon, whatever other the 50 social networking sites out there that you have listed. All with one click. Maybe a little blurb. They allow you 50 downloads a day. Now with Holistic Living, we had 50,000 people downloading that show every month. That's almost 2,000 a day. So you can see when you start to exceed the 50 downloads a day, they're going to want to start collecting some money. That means you got a hot cat. Pretty incredible what you can get for free to get started. You know, podcasts can talk about your coaching, you can have testimonials about your services, you can talk about your products and services. You can put a link in your blog that leads to an audio file of your podcast, right out of your blog. People want to hear the voice. They want to hear the passion in your voice about what it is that you're selling, doing, talking about. It's an incredible tool that I think everybody should utilize. So what are some of the ways that you can make some money? There's a lot of ways, and I'm only going to talk about a couple of them, but who here is familiar with an affiliate link? Yeah, just about everybody knows about an affiliate link. Get this. Who's familiar with audiobooks.com? Everybody familiar? You can go to audiobooks.com, get an affiliate link, put it in your podcast or in your blog. If somebody clicks on that and goes to audiobooks, you're tracked because that's your link. They get a free audiobook. Guess what you get? $15. They don't even have to buy anything. Isn't that incredible? You'd almost want to set up a podcast just to steer people to audiobooks.com. Eventually, everybody will belong, and you won't be able to make $15 anymore. But here recently, you know, I'm really interested in woodworking. And I was searching around the internet, looking at different sites, and I came across a podcast that talked about saw blades. I wanted to know about saw blades. This guy talked about the $120 saw blades and the $12 saw blades and the differences in the materials, and it was useful information for me. Then he mentioned that on his website, he had a little file that I could download with 16,000 woodworking plans. Do you think I went there and paid $29.95 for that? Sure I did. It was totally worth it to me. What did he do? He scanned plans and drawings that have been in Better Homes and Gardens and all kinds of different books, scanned them, put them all in one file for me to grab. Now, did he have permission? I don't know. I just know I have 16,000 plans that when I have an idea to do some woodworking project, I can go and get it for $29.95. It makes you wonder how many people paid for that product. Simple stuff like that. There's a lot of other ways you can do it. You know, with Holistic Living, we sold time slots. And we sold, at the most, 15-minute time slot for $500 for people just to be on our show. So there's a new term on the internet, or in internet marketing, or it's called Groom Your 100. And what that's about is grooming 100 fans. So if you had 100 people that shared your same passion, and that 100 people you talked about, you created some free content for them, and then you came out with some really whiz-bang content that you were going to sell. And they would want that because it's part of their passion. You developed with them. So say 100 people bought a $50 product from you. How much money would that be? $5,000. Let's bump that up a little bit. Say you groomed 1,000. And over a year, you had 1,000 people buy a $100 or a $50 product. How much money is that? $50,000. Am I giving you some ideas? I see some. Look at this head going. It's a great avenue. I've only touched a little bit about it. I mean, it's a huge possibility, especially if you're coaches or you have products. Podcasting might be an avenue just to get your message out there, get people hooked in. Something to think about. Okay, so I told you what a podcast was. I told you how easy it is to create it. And I gave you some ideas on how to make money with it. I hope you take that information and do something. If you want to know more, this year is really a breakout year for me. This year I'll be creating some webinars on how to create podcasts and some marketing tips on what you can do once your podcast is out. So stay in touch with me. Talk to me after the meeting if you're interested. I'll get your email address and we'll see where we can go with this. One last thing. Look, I'm down to the wire. I'm doing really good. Holistic Living with Tina Marie and Todd Allen is no more. the podcast will live on the internet forever. Tomorrow is the first show of my new radio show called Life Master with Todd Allen. I'm really excited about it. I told you this was a breakout year. I'm really going to do some cool stuff with this. And I don't know if you guys listened to my last radio show, but I had some really cool guests. And they're stacking up. I've got some national best-selling authors, some leaders in the metaphysical arena coming down the pipe. So tune in, listen to my show, and give me some feedback. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Tom. Please take a minute to give your feedback.